Let's kick it off. Let's start with Chris.
Yes. So would you like for me to just introduce myself, IGS, a little both?
Little both.
Sure. So my name is Chris Cackley with IGS Energy. I'm a senior manager in our commercial and industrial department. So at a high level, IGS Energy, we are an electricity and natural gas retailer. For those who live in deregulated markets, you may be familiar with us. Many on this call maybe are not familiar with what we do. I, as a college student, did not know as well. But we primarily work with larger businesses on energy procurement. So we provide them with electricity and natural gas. We do a lot of other things in the energy space as well, but our primary efforts are on the commodity side of the business. I've been with the company for 15 years. Started as an intern my junior year, so I was in the position that many of you guys are as college students. Graduated from a high university in their sales program, came to IGS and really fell in love with the opportunity and have been there since. A little bit of background on myself. I started as an outside sales rep here at IGS, helped to get our internship recruiting off the ground. When I started with the business, there was about 250 employees. Today we have over 2,000, so we've experienced a lot of growth over that time, and that's been really exciting. My day-to-day role today comprises of working in the collegiate recruiting space, with my roots being in our internship. I also oversee our entry-level sales teams, both in our Columbus, Ohio office and our Chicago office. At a high level, that's what I do. Do some lead data management work as well, since I do a lot of prospecting and my team does. I oversee a lot of our kind of data management efforts as well. So a little bit about us, a little bit about IGS, and I'm sure we'll talk more about our business as we get into things.
You're on mute, Juanita. Still on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Grant. I was saying you're next, Grant. Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm Grant Salisbury, the corporate sales executive for PAP-A and PAP-A Material Handling. I've been in sales for over 35 years now. When I graduated from college, the University of Wyoming, I have a degree in education, but I wanted to go into sales, so I bought a suit and I started selling photocopiers. So, of course, now I lead a sales organization. But PAP-A and PAP-A Material Handling, we are one of the nation's largest distributors of industrial equipment, like John Deere tractors, Kenworth semi-trucks, Hyster-Yale forklifts. And we operate on the West Coast, from Seattle down through California. And one of the things I love about being part of this is interacting with the students on the role plays. We sponsor a number of sales programs on the West, and it's always great to see the students perform. And we're so fortunate that we've been able to hire students from the schools, and they're doing such a great job for us. So it's great to be recognized as one of the top places to sell for out of college. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Joe, and thanks for keeping me on point there. Joe, he's a senior manager at Cvent.
Yeah, a little bit about me and Cvent. Joe Myers, I've been with Cvent for a little over 10 years now. It wasn't my first stop in my career, that being Cvent. Started out after graduation, I was hell-bent on wanting to be in the sports industry. So my first job out of school was inside sales with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I was selling season tickets, group outings, premium spaces, and suites. That took me to Washington, D.C., where I worked for the Washington Nationals for about 5-6 years as an account manager. And eventually I knew I wanted to get into leadership. So I took over the inside sales manager role there, which got me into that first time overseeing a team. And eventually, right around like the 2018, 2019 timeframe, transitioned into software. So hard career pivot. And now I work for a company called Cvent. And what we do is we're the industry leader in event management software. So really what that means is, there's a life cycle to any event. There's the planning portion, promotion, there's day of, and then there's post-event. You got to be able to manage all those processes, whether it's one event or a total events program, from finding the right venue to venue diagramming, room and travel, marketing efforts, registration, event websites, checking in, badging, mobile apps. I could go on in terms of all the different types of solutions we have under our platform. But really at the end of the day, like what it means is the data that you're collecting to make sense of all of your event or events efforts at the end of the day. And for you to be able to make all the necessary changes and be able to, you know, have a positive, you know, impact going into your next set of next year's events, or you need to be able to explain this to your board or your C-suite on more like high level, you know, KPIs and things that they're going to be wanting to know or seek out. And what I do, and I oversee our North American commercial team here in the DMV, Washington, you know, DC area. But yeah, just a little bit about me, CVent, what we do.
All right. Next will be Kristen Ream from Adobe.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. So my name is Kristen Ream. Like Lanita said, I work for Adobe in our Adobe Sales Academy program. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Adobe. We're a software company, and our mission is to change the world through digital experiences. And so when you think about that, from all digital experiences, we have our Creative Cloud, which really allows us to unleash that creativity, whether it's at an individual level. I'm sure you all as students are using it in some capacity and just really enabling creators to create. Another part of our business is our document cloud. So it's really accelerating that document productivity, trying to change the way people use documents, the way that they share them and engage with them from that digital perspective. And then we also have our digital experience cloud on our digital experience side of the business. So a lot of you may not be familiar with that, but it's really empowering digital businesses of literally any size to have anything and everything that they need to design and deliver those great customer experiences as well, and be able to see and analyze how their customers are engaging with them. So it's really cool. We have these three kind of clouds on how we go to market. And then when you think about us from that B2C perspective of, you know, selling Creative Cloud online versus that B2B perspective, the side of the business I work on is B2B. And when we think about our company and how we work with our sellers, it's very much so that B2B side of the business. So to talk just a little bit more about our Sales Academy program, that's where I'm aligned. So I've been with Adobe coming up on 10 years. I came in as an intern and I just never left. I am still an intern because I oversee our interns, and I love it. I love working with interns, and I still feel like I'm one of the interns, and it really is what makes me super passionate about my job, is being able to work with those early in career individuals. And Adobe's idea here with our Sales Academy program, and you know, the pilot program I came in as for the Sales Academy, is how do we work with those early in career, you know, those early college students, people interested in getting into sales, and help them join a company that wants to invest in them. And then in return, they're investing in Adobe's success and just helping us grow that mission of changing the world through digital experiences. So our program is a multi-year program where you're growing and developing in different sales roles. And the whole point of it is to help develop you into the next generation of Adobe's best field sellers, and again, to accelerate that mission of changing the world through digital experiences. So all starts with our intern program, and then, you know, progress. I've been here 10 years. We have lots of people who have come through our program who have been here just as long, and it's a tried and true program where we've really seen a lot of success. And I'm excited to talk to you all a little bit more about Adobe and what we do. But with that, I'll pass it back to Lanita.
Right. And last but not least, we have Misty from National Corporate Housing. Did I I said now it's national. Okay, take it away, Misty.
Yeah. Thanks, Lanita. Good morning or afternoon, everybody. I'm Misty. I am actually the president and COO of National Corporate Housing, and we are a travel management company. So we provide short-term or long-term temporary, usually temporary housing to companies or individuals that are relocating for work, project-based work, things like that. We also have several other divisions that kind of aid and have over the years really made our customers stickier to us. So we also have travel services, which is hotels. It's a travel agency, so rental cars, airlines, flights, things like that. And then we also have destination services, which is pretty unique, and it helps people that are relocating from primarily other countries or other cultures to acclimate to whatever culture or country that they're going into. So we help a lot of people understand, you know, where they would send their kids to school, how they get their driver's licenses or certifications to practice whatever they may be there for work. We also help people find the best pet care for their pets when they're relocating and they want somewhere for their furry family members to go. We also have an insurance housing company that helps people after a flood, fire, natural disaster, either relocate their things or kind of rebuild. So we kind of do all things housing. And then along the way, we had some of our customers and some competitors, oddly enough, reach out to us and say, gosh, you guys find really great people, and we'd like for you to help us find really great people. And so out of that was born some of our recruiting services. And so along the way, we acquired an executive recruitment firm and then a medical staffing firm as well. So we kind of help companies manage their talent from the beginning to finding them, all the way through moving them and getting them to where they need to be successful. I have been with National for 19 years. Actually, today is my 19th year anniversary. So I know, it's so fun. And I started a couple years out of college on the HR side, actually, and started an HR department for the company. One of our founding beliefs was that human resources are our most valuable asset. And so I started up the HR department, and over the years it grew and grew. And through COVID, the founder of the company asked me to step into the president role, because once you get to a leadership seat, it really is all about people and managing your people to success, listening and understanding their obstacles and challenges, and then removing those so they can do the work that you've outlined them to do. So we embarked on this recruitment, and knowing that we have to really grow our own talent, we've started really looking at kids coming out of college and developing intern programs and recruiting from sales programs and hospitality programs to fulfill our talent pipeline. So that's how we got kind of involved in this, and we're named one of the best companies to sell for. So we're really grateful for that. We're proud of the program that we've created, and it's nice to see all of you out there today. So thank you.
Well, on that note, I'm going to pick on that. I did a little research on each one of the companies. I was not on the selection committee, but I did some research on you. And, you know, I want to hear from you because, you know, one thing I noticed was your culture and the unique benefits and things you do for the people that work for you or work in your company in terms of training and just how you collaborate together. So, but I want you to speak about what are the attributes, I mean, in your mind, what are the key attributes that led your company being selected as the 2025 best places to sell for? And we'll start with Misty.
Okay. You know, I think one of the things about us is that we ask people to be curious, and we ask them to, you know, understand our customers' challenges and be good problem solvers. You know, we are in the business of moving people, and people are unpredictable. And so you have to be resilient. You have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to be a good listener and to learn what their challenges and problems are, and then create programs that solve that. So we really look for people and attributes in people that are curious, that are resilient, that are helpful and kind by nature. Again, because we're in the people business, you have to have, it's a very different sale than a tech sale. And so we look for a little bit different qualities than if we were selling a product or a widget. We're selling a service. So it is quite different. We look for people that are internally motivated and that have a real drive to succeed and to be successful. And we really look for people that like to work together and like to work with people, because that is what we do. And our salespeople do not turn a sale over and then leave. They stay with that sale through the life cycle. And it could be, you know, housing sport players year after year. It could be housing. Actually, we do a significant amount of intern programs. So our teams are incredibly busy in the next couple of weeks, moving in thousands and thousands of interns. And so we look for people that like to work with people and that like people and that react and interact well with people. So that's a little bit about what we look for. And I'll say too, we look for people that want to grow and want to learn. I think that's important to us. You know, I'm a prime example of somebody who started over here and ended up over here in a different department, in a different area, in a different kind of space. And so we really look at the potential of people and what is their potential and how do we see that they can grow with us. So that's a little bit about what we look for.
Okay, and what unique attributes? I mean, what, if you could, some unique or things you find interesting that your company does for your employees and the people that come to work for you?
Well, some unique things that we look for, I think, are a sense of urgency. You know, again, like we're in the hospitality space, so you have to have that warm, friendly nature. You have to be magnetic. Some might call it kind of an it factor. But we do lots of different things for the people that work for us. We just got back from our annual sales and management conference in San Antonio, where we brought all of our people together. We have about 450 people total. So we had about 100 people come down with us, and we put on a lot of learnings. So we had the Gallup Strength Finder come in and teach us about strengths and how you build teams to strengths and look at the different components of a team and the strengths of a team and how you work to build a team. So we do a lot of self-development as well, because we know that the stronger you are as an individual, the stronger you are as a person and as an employee. And so we really look to bridge those gaps. It's really hard to separate work and personal anymore. And we know they're kind of one and the same. So we spend a lot of time developing people, developing the person, the individual. And if that helps us in our business, that's great. And so that's a little bit about what we do.
All right, thank you. All right, Chris, you're next on my screen. Why do you think we chose IGS? What's special there?
Gosh, it's a good question. When I originally saw this, my default is, you know, I have to ask the committee. When I think about, you know, there's a lot of things that we do well. A little bit of background on IGS. We're a family-owned company. We're privately held. We were started back in 1989 by a father-son company duo. Our founder, Marv White, had a successful career in the utility business, and entering into retirement, invited his son to join him and start IGS. And the reason that's important is because our corporate structure, I think, has lent itself to developing our culture in a lot of ways. We are a much larger business than we were 30 plus years ago, but we are still family owned and we still are privately held. And I can remember being a student and really thinking nothing of corporate structure when I was deciding which organization I wanted to join. In hindsight, it ended up paying off in a lot of ways for me, in that I've really grown to like the fact that we are privately held and family owned, and the way that we're very long-term focused. I think that comes into the organization's culture. And that, we are very long-term focused. We are very genuine, authentic. There is a family feel about the business. Again, we are much larger in size than when I started, but there's still very much that kind of family feel. And when you think about culture, I think a lot of people attribute it to features, benefits, etc. I always remind people when you talk about culture, it's shared ideas and beliefs. It's bringing people together that have the same sort of ideals and values. And that's a lot of what we focus on. We look to hire people that want to do the right thing, that are genuine, authentic, want to come in, work hard, have an impact. We do engagement surveys every year. 96% of our employees come in every day feeling like they're having an impact on the business, and that resonates really loud with us. In terms of our sales culture, I think things that stand out from an engagement perspective, we have a very long-term focus. We don't have quotas, which when I tell that to salespeople, they usually say, how do you motivate your employees? We're very intentional with who we bring on. We focus a lot of our efforts on the internship program. Our belief has always been that if you find really motivated employees, you don't have to motivate them once they're in the door. I don't want to have to get up every day and give like a Wolf of Wall Street speech to get people excited. You either have to be excited or not. Instead, we really focus on providing support and resources and training. And I think that's been really helpful as well. In terms of, industry competitiveness, I think the fact that we're family owned and privately held has allowed us to be consistently competitive. We've not changed our compensation structure in 30 plus years. I think that resonates with employees as well. When they know what they're going to be paid and how they're going to be paid, that's important for salespeople. I think that's had, a really large impact as well. But in general, our culture has always been very humble. We tell sales reps, when you join the business, check your ego out the door. That helps a lot with our culture. And, we haven't really focused a lot on awards, except for the last couple of years. Even back to when I joined the organization in 2010, we got a platinum LEED certification on our building, not because we were focused on that, but just because it kind of came with what we were doing. It was only in the last couple of years that we started really focusing on awards, only because it really does help us with recruitment. But we always start with just doing the right thing, focusing on treating employees well. And if the accolades are there, great. It does help us, try to catch people's attention because we don't have a lot of name recognition. Students or people in general don't think energy, don't think suppliers. So we focus a lot on some of those things now, but yeah, I'd say our corporate structure, kind of leads to a lot of what we do as a culture.
Okay, fantastic. All right, speaking of family owned, I think in my research, correct me if I'm wrong, Pape is another family owned, privately held company. Can you say what's unique about your culture? And
Absolutely. That is,
congratulations on being awarded, inaugural winner.
yeah, it's great to be awarded. It's fantastic. But yeah, Pape, we are a family-owned company, started in 1938. Jordan Pape, fourth generation. He's our CEO and owner. His brother is president of one of our divisions, and their mom, Susie, is chair of the board. Over 4,500 employees. And it's amazing. And a big part of our company is the service we provide our customers. You can see I changed my background screen to the equipment that we sell. I mean, we're selling industrial equipment that really makes America great, builds communities, builds housing, builds roads with the John Deere equipment, Kenworth, the forklifts. But I think one of the reasons we were selected is because we have a really robust internship program. I remember the first year, it was 2019. We had 9 interns during the summer, and it was a great experience. So our internship program is one of the reasons. It's about an experience. We have the students, they might do internships in Seattle or Portland or Southern California. If students are coming from out of state and they don't have housing, and that's why I need to get with Misty about corporate housing. We've been doing our own thing with the Airbnb, very expensive, by the way. We have to manage a lot of that ourselves. But anyway, our internship is an experience. If the student doesn't have a company or a car, we provide a company vehicle. So the whole idea of the internship is to give the student experience selling, but also an opportunity to learn if Pape is going to be a good fit. So it starts with the internship program. And then with our new hires, we have a very strong, sales development program. We take them through the Pape Sales Academy. make sure they understand that you're already coming to our company with the selling skills you learn in school. We just have you apply those to selling equipment. And then, of course, you learn the equipment. Another big part of it is our team selling. So once you go through the sales training program with PAPE, you'll have an outside sales position. You will have a company vehicle. That's a good perk. I'm looking at, is that the Golden Gate Bridge there, Bradley? Is that what I'm seeing there? I think. Sorry to
Yes,
pick on you.
it's
Yeah, I think that's you.
It's a standard. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, go ahead.
Well, here's what I love about that. Picture this. You get hired by PAPE out of college. You go through the PAPE Sales Academy. Now you have your own outside sales territory. Picture yourself driving over the Golden Gate Bridge, heading north up to Napa, and selling forklifts and other equipment to the wineries up there. That's the life of PAPE on the West Coast. Company vehicle. And then another thing that why I think we're selected is because our sellers are very much relationship based. It's about developing not necessarily a personal relationship with our customers, but when you become an outside salesperson with PAPE, you may be in that territory. Some of our sellers are retiring after 40 years. Doesn't have to be that way, but what happens is most of our business comes from repeat customers. So our sellers really like the fact that they're developing these relationships where the customers trust them to provide the right solutions, and they can make a great income, and they can sell the same account over and over again. So I think those are some of the reasons why we were selected.
Wow, the Napa. Man.
Yeah, picture that. See, doesn't
No,
that
you
sound
got me
cool?
updating my resume. I think me
Yeah.
and this year thinking about it, but
Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of people. I wasn't sure if I was the only Bradley in here. So
Oh, sorry, Bradley.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah, you're perfect. Yeah, I see that pic. I love the background with the bridge there. It looks great. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Had to hide a fat head of the Death Star from Star Wars, so decided to go with this one. It's the best looking one.
Cool.
Thank
nice.
you.
It got your attention. Yeah, there you go. And we're still out on the West Coast with Adobe. Kristen.
Yeah, so in thinking about this question, I feel like there are a lot of ways to answer it, but I'm going to start by going through our company core values because I feel that really aligns with like what we look for as well as what makes us unique. So the first one is creating the future. And as you can imagine, we're creators, creativity is in our DNA, but really just thinking about how, the possibilities are endless. We're open-minded, we celebrate new ideas, we're trying to disrupt the market. We have disrupted the market, right? We're the market leaders across our 3 clouds. And so really just kind of looking for people that are coming in and want to have that creative mindset and really just take, all the new technology and running with it. So when you look at everything we're doing with AI and doing that across our 3 clouds, as well as people who are willing to think about how do we sell and how do we use that to make us more efficient and effective in how we sell, which is really cool. The next company value is owning the outcome. And I just love this, especially when you think about it from a sales perspective. Like we think and operate like owners. We take that initiative, we get things done. So, I own our intern program, and I own that outcome and making sure that everyone feels that sense of urgency. And then same with sellers. You own your accounts, you own your, solutions that you're supporting, you own your number, and just making sure that you take that and you run with it. The next core value is raising the bar. And I just love that because we really focus on execution when you look at, the way we're, hitting our numbers year over year, but really just making sure that we're doing that and always trying to be better. I love that. Like I've been here for 10 years and every single year is different. We honestly act like a startup in just the way that we operate and just constantly striving to change and mix things up, which keeps it really, really fast paced. And then the final core value, which I want to really dive in on, especially when we think about what sets us apart, our core value is being genuine. And I just really love that because it's so important for us to be able to be ourselves, and also just really making sure that we're genuine with our customers and that we're genuine with each other, with our coworkers. That's how we interact day to day. And like my coworkers are honestly like people I work with the most, and they're my closest friends. So really just being genuine to challenge each other, to be honest, to be direct, and then just always being sincere, acting with integrity, and just having those really high ethics, I think is really, really important when we think about being genuine. And when I interview, that is a whole section of how I interview. Do I feel like this person was genuine? I then just want to flip a little bit. You talked a little bit like what are some of those benefits? What are some of those things that attract people to come and stay at Adobe long term? So really thinking about that work-life balance, Adobe, I think really tries to um, think about how do we make sure that our people are coming in and as that work hard, play hard. So when we think about that overall work-life balance, you get global wellness days off about every 6 weeks. You get a day off just to recharge, which honestly for me and family life is huge. You get 1 week off. As like our company shutdown, and we do that twice a year, which is really cool, over the 4th of July and over Christmas break. It's right now for like the entry level sellers, it is, working from the office, but we try to do like a hybrid work environment. And then, I'm sure this is way beyond what you guys are thinking about right now, but those maternity leaves, 4 months for paternity, 6 months for maternity, which is awesome. You get over $600 a year for wellness reimbursement, whether that's a new pair of tennis shoes, a gym membership, golfing. We really try to give you resources to make sure that you're focusing on mental health, as well as access to our creative solutions, as well as other platforms to just help you learn and grow. And then you get $10,000 a year to go towards tuition reimbursement, whether that's going on to expand your education, or if you're coming in as a full-time hire, that can help reimburse your senior year, which is pretty cool. And then just ongoing learning. So I just think that ties back to our core values of trying to help you be your genuine self and taking care of yourself as well as like your work self, and then really trying to raise the bar as in continuing that education. So I know that's a lot, but Lenita, I'll pass it back to you.
No, that's great. I was like 6 months maternity leave. Wow. Awesome. I've been out the game for a minute though. All right, next is Joe Myers,
Yeah, I'll
event.
take it.
Yes, it's all about
Yeah,
event now.
there was some of the companies mentioned the stuff I'm about to talk about, but I'm gonna go a little bit more into depth on training, coaching, and mentorship. I think that's a big anxiety piece when someone, when you're going into like maybe your first role, potentially out of school, which is, all of you on this call, or, just like changing companies, am I going to be set up for success? Are they really going to give me the tools that I can put in my tool belt? But when you first start at CBEN, it doesn't matter what role you're in, but I'll talk specifically to our sales program. We have it's called Ignite training. So ignite you to really kind of jumpstart your career. And it's an intensive 4-week program or onboarding program where it's going to address the foundational knowledge that really college, really what you're going to need coming out of school. And it's going to help you with sharp skills, sales skills, good habits, really start your time here at CBEN. But it doesn't stop after the onboarding 4-week process. And that's before you go live. There's 4 weeks where you're just getting schooled up on talk tracks and objection handling, role plays, internal softwares, prospecting, everything that you're going to need to find success in the role. But the training continues after. We have an additional, once you do go live, an 8-week program called Launch. So Ignite, and now you're launched into, you going live. That's a weekly continued training program with many capstones involved that you're going to be doing with your manager. And then once Launch is done, you're in what's called accelerate. So now you're accelerating yourself through the sales role. You're really gaining the skills that you're going to need for those next level roles outside of a inside sales role, sales development, BDR role. So it's really going to set you up for success. And then finally, if you want to go like an individual contributor route, maybe being like an AE for new business or an account manager, we're going to help you gain those skills while you're still in your SDR roles, what we call it here at CVent, before you actually go live there. So we have what's called our Boost program that goes on anywhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on when you would be potentially promoted. But it's going to give you all the skills and knowledge of everything you need to know to demo, setting up calls, qualifying questions, negotiating tactics, putting together sales quotes, so these are all things that you're doing now as an established SDR, that you can do the role, very, very at a very high level, but you can also take some time getting prepared for the next role. So that's why I think best practices in terms of training was one reason why we were selected, and then coaching and mentorship. We have you have a manager that's solely dedicated to you and their team. They don't carry a bag or anything like that, but their success, or your success, is their success, should I say, to make you the best version of yourself. But we have a robust coaching program. It's getting, constantly involved. I'm sure, each organization has different versions of this, but just to emphasize, individual one-on-ones and call coaching, feedback sessions, weekly one-on-ones with your manager, team meetings and trainings going on there, in terms of maybe like new products coming out. And then there's also an official mentor program. So once you go live and you're like, oh man, you have your manager, you also have a mentor that's a more tenured SDR that's been in the role for 9, 12, 18 months, and they can really, really be your go-to person that you can rely on as you start navigating this journey into the next part of your professional career. And really quick, just some additional things, like for CVent that we offer. We're the industry leader in event management software. We drink our own champagne. What I mean by that is we power all of our own events with our software. And you're going to have abilities somewhat in the SDR role and beyond to go to some of these, events that we're either hosting or other organizations are hosting, but, could be going to trade shows on behalf of CVent to gain leads. We have a couple people out on the West Coast right now doing that. Lunch and Learns, we have an industry conference called CVent Connect. These are all like where you're gonna have abilities to go to these events, see our software firsthand. We have a hybrid work policy, 2 days in the office, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Feel that's a really good mix of being able to get some in-office time, learning from each other, being with your team, and then you also have the ability to be at home, be able to do things there. And then we leverage the best software and you're able to do your role from the Salesforce Lightnings and cadence management tools like SalesLoft. So we really try to set you up for success in all facets of your role.
Wow. Yeah, corporate events are a lot of fun.
They are.
I know. I keep trying to get in.
Lenita, we'll get you to CVent Connect here this year, okay?
All right, everybody heard that, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
I have witnesses and it's recorded.
2 months in San Antonio, Texas.
All right, I'm in. I'm there. All right, guys, if you have students, if you have questions, I'm just kicking it off, but this is really about you. If you have questions, you want to put them in the chat or you want to come on off mute, please feel free. So do you have any questions? Bradley's raising his hand. Bradley, come on.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, this question's for you. So I've been working in sports past 4 years throughout my college career at PNW. I work for the athletics department. I also work with the Gary Rail Cats. They're a minor league professional baseball team in Gary, Indiana. So I'm interested in working in sports. I know you mentioned you work for the Pirates and Nationals in sales, and now you're with CVent. So how does working in sports sales compared to working in a company like Cvent in that sales department?
Yeah, good question there, Bradley. I'd say that, man, I loved my time in the sports industry. Like I said, I remember sitting with a advisor, still in school, figuring out what I wanted to do. And I just knew in order for me to be happy when I started my career, that was like what I wanted to do. Say the biggest differences are, you know, this is some of the reasons why I made pivots, but in terms of what you're selling, you are selling fun. You're selling experiences in sports, and that with that can come a lot of like emotion. You're selling to families for season tickets and making memories there, but you might be also selling to corporate businesses to really leverage in terms of gaining leads and closing deals for premium packages and stuff like that. But I think one of the biggest differences is like, hey, look, I was working in baseball. I have a product that I'm selling, there's an off season, but things that are out of my control, I'm having to sell. So players coming and going, wins and losses, it's success on the field, yes or no, outside venues. If there's a rain delay or a game canceled, that group coming from Iowa, for their class trip, they're going to want a refund, and that impacts your paycheck. And so little things like that, where I started to look at software more and more, and I thought there'd be a lot of opportunities. And that's another thing I'd go to is I wanted to work in professional sports. If you think about 5 major leagues across the nation, so there's limited opportunities. I work in the DC metro area, McLean, Virginia, to be specific. There's tens of thousands of software companies just in where I'm located. It's, the Palo Alto of the East Coast, essentially. So I thought opportunity and pivoting something that is year-round, 24/7, industry leader, felt like a no-brainer. And that's why I made my pivot into software and Cvent. However, I will say I would have never changed the start of my career working in professional sports. It taught me grit. It taught me showing up no matter what, and working long hours, weekends, sometimes holidays, 4th of July weekend, Memorial Day. So it gave me those foundational things that I still attribute to this day.
That's awesome, Joe. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so you started your career in sports, like professionally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great start. I'm hoping to start my career or at some point.
Yeah, Brad, and I'd say
sports
this to anyone on the call, connect with us all on LinkedIn if you want to shoot us a message and hop on some calls, and we can, all this is about like career guidance, and of course we all want you to come work for us. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you want to talk more through some of that stuff and give them some more insights, happy to do that.
Yeah,
Thank
please,
you.
everyone, please connect with all of our speakers, and I'll be sharing sharing your contact information as well. Here's a question, but I'm going to spread this out to all the panelists. Apparently, someone, I think Michaela Scott, wants to know how sales turns make a lasting impact. She put a plug in. She's visiting the office in Tyson's next Wednesday and is really looking forward to it. So help Michaela out, but I want the whole board to talk about your hiring process and how someone can really stand out when they interview or when they come and work for you. Like, what makes you stand out? And say, hey, that person needs to be on the fast track. All right, so we'll start with Joe, and then we'll work it on. We'll work to the rest of the panel.
Yeah, really quick on Michaela, if you're going to be in the Tysons area, yeah, look us up, and maybe come visit the office. Or you said that you are visiting the office.
Yeah, I've been recently interviewing for the sales intern position, so I'm visiting the office. I think it's like the final round on
fantastic!
Wednesday.
Congrats!
So, I'm really excited.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, Chris Hoyt, Thompson, and Jen Sipe are also on the call, so we can definitely make a point to connect with you and all that. If not, it might be on your interview. Who knows? But what I'd say for interns is, look, it can be very easy actually to stand out. All you gotta do is be super engaged in like your training sessions, ask questions, and be curious. I think we've heard this a lot in sales. You know, you might be. I know our internship program for sales specifically is roughly about 25-ish, you know, people that we bring in. But like, be that person bringing value to every session that you're in, and you know, that we have like internship leaders, you know, part of like our sales organization, but candidly, like I'm not going to be in like all the sessions for our interns. So like it's on you to seek out other leadership, and that's what we're here for. Like, hey, you know what, if you want to pick some brains of this person, but it's up to you to actually like make those reach outs and be okay and comfortable with you know, putting yourself out there. But just know and realize that everyone wants to help or wants you to succeed. No one is, you know, there to big dog you and like, you know, not respond. Like people want to be able to like speak with you and all that, but you just got to put yourself out there. So those are the things I think really stand out. Just be curious, be engaging, and make yourself memorable in a good way by bringing consistency in terms of how your interactions are going in the office when you get a chance.
Definitely. Thank you. I'm looking forward to Wednesday.
No doubt.
All right, Kristen.
Yeah.
How do we stand out? What's your hiring process? Yes.
So standing out in your hiring process, I think it's a sales role, right? So you have to treat it as if I am your prospect or your contact that you're trying to get a hold of. Because I think the way that I look at the way like you're engaging with me in a hiring process, you're going to be very similar in that tenacity and grit and how you are with our customers. So I think about all those different avenues. Are you sending LinkedIn messages? Are you having really clear follow-up? Are you making sure that you're coming really professional and engaged? And have you done your research? Right? That's such a big part of how we are connecting with our customers, is showing up, understanding their business, and really feeling like that we're like, you know, hypothesizing what they could be challenged with. And so I want to see that as well, that you're coming with ideas and that you've done that research. I think is really, really important. The other thing too, I just think it's so important to show that you are coming across like engaged and professional. Just adding in a smile, I think, goes a really long way because it helps create that connection. And if you can connect with me in an interview, then I can see how you would be able to translate that with our customers. And then I think what Joe talked about is just spot on the way to stand out in an internship. Is every single day you've got to take it as an interview and always be looking for ways to just add value, think outside the box, be creative. And then I also think attach yourself to the best sellers and try to figure out what they're doing. Don't recreate the wheel, but taking the time to network and really look at the processes and like the way people are account planning, the way people are running their customer calls, is go in and start just mirroring and replicating the top sellers and seeing what they're doing. And then you're going to be able to be that as well. And then the other thing that I would also say as an intern is it's so important to also be like uplifting others, that you want to stand out, but you also want everyone else to succeed. So how are you trying to share the wealth and help everyone be better? Because I think that's just such a great leadership quality, and that will make you like stand out in and of itself. So those are a few of my tips.
Thank you. I really love that answer.
Grant.
Oh, thanks. I'm outside now. It's sunny in Seattle. I'm based in Seattle. Sorry, that's a dumb joke, but I have to change my background from time to time. Anyway, so our hiring process is it's, you know, we engage students on campus. We interview them. We do a personality assessment to make sure that we have different types of sales roles, technical sales roles, outgoing sales roles. So we do a personality test to make sure we have the right fit, for the role. But so I've been on the college campus recruiting for 7 years now. I've met 2,000, 3,000 students at the career booths. Something that stands out to me is engaging the students. Those are engaging, ask questions. They stand out. But here's the people that end up working for PAP-A. So I'll go on campus and I'll make a presentation about who PAP-A is, what we sell. And then what happens is those students that are really interested will start engaging with me or my colleagues on LinkedIn, emails. They'll ask their professors to give them a recommendation. So many of the students we've hired, they're hired at PAP-A because they really showed an interest to work for us. Because you'll, as students, you have many places you could go work. Like on this panel here, software, corporate housing, private companies, public companies. You have so many choices. And so what we're looking for is those students that want to go sell equipment and do relationship selling on the West Coast. So the process is present on campus. Those students who are interested will reach out. We'll come down with a handful of students, and we'll only hire 5 or 6 a year to join our company. Hope that helps.
Definitely. Thank you.
That is help. Thank you, Grant. All right, Chris.
Yes. Hi, everyone. And I apologize. I'm going to have to drop here at 1. Wish I could stay later, but yeah, I mean, just a couple of things, for us in terms of standing out. I think the first thing just to be mindful of is just being authentic through the process. If you try to be somebody that you're not to get a job and it's not the right fit, everybody loses, so we always encourage candidates to be themselves, present themselves authentically, and help us, again, find out if it's the right fit. Something unique about our hiring process that we've heard from candidates is we're very intentional about the interview process. All of our candidates meet with individuals in the sales force. Something unique as well is we bring all of our candidates on site. It sounds like CVent and some others are doing that as well. Particularly coming out of COVID, we found that was a huge advantage for us, is being able to host candidates in our office, so that they are going to be able to see the office they're working in, get to know the people on our staff. And then we actually invite all of our final round candidates to spend an evening either in Chicago or Columbus, spending some time with our sales team. That is a benefit in several different ways. Obviously, the candidates get to know individuals they'd be working with. They get to ask more candid questions, and really find out if IGS is going to be a really good fit. They get to ask the questions that maybe they're afraid to ask in the interview, and that has been really beneficial. We find that so many students join an organization having never stepped foot in the office, having never met any individuals in the sales force. We also offer a job shadow, so candidates can actually see what the job would be like. And that's been really beneficial for us. And so I would just say that, for candidates looking to stand out, look, be yourself, be authentic, trust the process. I interviewed for a lot of jobs, as we all have, that you didn't get, and you find out later that it wasn't anything that you did wrong. It was just that you weren't the right fit. And if you show up and you try to be somebody you're not, again, you're going to be finding yourself in potentially maybe the wrong fit, which isn't good for anybody. So, but I want to thank everybody for the invitation and for allowing me to be here today. It's been great to talk with you guys.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. We have a great weekend. We're sorry you had to go, but
yeah,
provide a great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, everyone, make sure you answer. I put a poll out there. Make sure you answer the poll. And Misty, you're up. How do we stand out?
Okay.
How do we get hired?
Yeah, well, much like everybody else here, we have a very specific hiring process. It's specific for different roles. We do several different personality assessments, cognitive assessments to make sure that we're selecting the right people who believe in our core values, and then the right fit, the right seat, with the right job. And so we do a lot of that. We use those assessments throughout the life cycle of the employee. So when we go to promotions and different seats, or if things aren't working well or working great. So we do that. But I would say, people really, and then we have a very specific long interview that is called the long interview that is really designed to get kind of behind some of the canned answers, because we really want to know, sorry about that. We really want to know the person that we're hiring. We know that people are imperfect, and we know that nobody is perfect, but we really want to know who you are and what you bring to the table. And so we ask a series of specific questions to kind of get behind some of that. But I would say the people that we're hiring are warm and engaging. Again, we're in a people sale, the people business, so it is quite different than some of the other sales that are out there. And we really make sure that we want to hear about what you have done. Were you involved in clubs? Were you involved, you know, did you work? You mentioned, Lenita, at the beginning of the call, all of these students are involved in multiple different things. So we want people who can balance things, that can really have quite a bit of resilience, because a people business can be difficult at times. You know, people are unpredictable. And so we're really looking for those people that have participated in various things. And then we're looking for enthusiasm and a real drive to win and a competitive nature, specifically in our sales area. We work with a lot of the large Fortune 100 companies. And so we need people that are also polished and that show up, you know, dressed for success and make a good impression on the first round. So those are some of the things. I know we're at the end of time here, but.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm editing out. Okay, any other questions out there? No? Yes? All right, let me see. Did I ask them all? Let's see. Grant, I got everybody. Okay. Can you just wrap up? What is your hiring in general, the specifics on your hiring process? That if I'm interested in getting an internship, I'm looking out here, and there are some people on the call. There's 28% that are still looking for a job when they graduate, and another 28% that are still looking for an internship. So what is your hiring process? And yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in. And our hiring process is really, it's a three-part. I'll just give a synopsis of what it is. It's a three-part interview process. First, there's a one-on-one conversation with one of our recruiters to, you know, just make sure and understand, you know, your interest in that, if we're aligned, that, you know, okay, there's a potential here for our sales program. Then they would set you up with another one-on-one conversation with which would be a phone interview with a sales leader. If they are in agreement, you make it to our final interview whenever possible. We love our candidates to come into the office. Obviously, that's heavily dependent on your location and all that, but you just get a great feel of the office, the environment, being able to connect with the leaders. But it's a three-part panel process while you're there, but you also get to shadow a current SDR in the role for about 30 to 45 minutes, see their day-to-day, ask them questions. And then there's, you know, 3 other leaders that you would be speaking to. So all in all, like, that day is about 2.5 hours. So we always like to get back with people, you know, within about a week time frame. We try to make it as tight and condensed as possible, but that's what you can expect out of our hiring process. Chris Hoy and Jen Sipe are great resources who are here on camera that you should definitely connect with on LinkedIn or reach out to. So, but that's a little bit about our hiring process here at CVEP.
Grant.
Yeah, so for those students here that are interested in PAP-A, you can reach out to me directly. And there's a couple avenues you could take with that. If some students just want to reach out and go, I just want to learn more about PAP-A before I actually apply. And you can do that. Just reach out to me on LinkedIn, say, I want to learn more about PAP-A. Or you can say, hey, Grant, I want an application. So then what would happen there, I'll send you an application. It'll be a link. You go online. And then from that application, then you'd have an interview with our recruiting manager. Then if that goes well, you'd have a interview with one of our hiring managers, and those interviews would be virtually. And then after that, you'd have a chance to do an in-person interview, and we'll see how it goes. But just reach out to me is a great way to start. Thanks.
Okay. All right, Kristen. I'm sorry, Misty.
Yeah. So
Looking
our
for Kristen.
interview process is you can reach out to careers@nationalcorporatehousing.com, and you can let them know what you're interested in and where you saw me. And there's a couple of interviews. I think for internships, there's only two. And two different assessments that we'll ask you to take. And then we can talk about what market you're in. We're in 27 different US markets. And then we also have Singapore, Australia, London, Dublin. And I think that's it for now, but we're always looking for great people in all those places. We have sales internships, hospitality internships, and then we're also hiring for a leadership development program or business development representatives for those of you that have graduated. So, and those are in a variety of those markets all across the US. So if you're interested, just let us know and we can get you plugged in with the right group.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for your time. I went a little over. I apologize, but it was very interesting conversation. And thank you for being our inaugural winners and doing our inaugural town hall and taking so much out of your Friday. Everybody just give them a round. Okay, I'll do it if people want.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lenita, for
Thank
putting all this together.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Everybody have
bye-bye.
a wonderful weekend. And
Thank you.
thank you again.
Thank you.
You too. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Hey, Tiff. I can't hear you. Wait a minute, let's stop recording.